Welcome to Sex Ed with DB. I'm your host, DB. Let's get into it. Hey podcasters, want to learn how to make real money from your show without joining a big network or selling out? I'm DB, host of your favorite podcast, Sex Ed with DB, and I built my podcast into a six-figure business by mastering one thing: sponsorships. Now I'm teaching you exactly how I did it in a virtual 2-part workshop, Making Indie Podcasts That Pay, happening May 27th and May 29th from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time through Radio Bootcamp. We'll cover how to price your ads, pitch to brands that actually say yes, and build long-term sponsor relationships that pay you, not just your hosting fees. Whether you're in sex ed, storytelling, true crime, or anything else, this is the stuff I wish someone taught me when I started. The class is only $100, and spots are limited. And it's all online, so grab your seat now at radiobootcamp.org/classes or go to the link in the show notes of this episode. And let's get that podcast money. Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing great. I am doing kind of something different and new this fun bonus episode, where usually I would kind of answer a sex ed question. This week on Rom-Com Vom, we did 13 going on 30, so I was really contemplating doing an episode about age gaps. If you are still interested in hearing that episode, inspired by the fact that Jenna Rink, as Jennifer Garner plays her in her 30s, still has a 13-year-old mind and is in fact in a budding relationship with Mark Ruffalo, his character Maddie, and wanted to do a kind of age gap themed episode based on that. So if you do still want to hear me talk about that, please send me a nice little email at sexedwithdb@gmail.com if you're curious about my takes about what's an appropriate age gap or what isn't. But I figured that I would go into a new series and review it that I just watched the entire thing of yesterday on an airplane, which of course is Dying for Sex, the new FX show on Hulu about a woman who gets a terminally ill cancer diagnosis and decides to go on like a sexual identity journey. So, spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about that show in this episode. So if you haven't seen that show yet, starring Michelle Williams and Jenny Slate, I highly recommend that you get that free trial of Hulu and go watch the show because it is so spectacular. And I just wanted to review it with you and share my thoughts. Obviously, as you can tell from all the Rom-Com Vom episodes, I'm so passionate about TV and film and the depiction of sex and relationships in TV and film. And I thought Dying for Sex just needed a home in this season of Rom-Com Vom through a bonus episode. So I'm just going to be kind of like talking about what I thought about it and what I really loved and what I thought that it shared about love and sex and relationships and death. And yeah, there's just so much to it that I just wanted to share my thoughts and feelings. So officially, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Dying for Sex, pause now. So Dying for Sex, let me just read you the little synopsis here, because if you haven't heard of it, I want to make sure that you get the facts. So Dying for Sex, it's an American comedy drama miniseries based loosely on the real-life experiences of Molly Cochin, not sure how to pronounce her last name, written by Les Merriweather and Kim Rosenstock. The show depicts her being diagnosed with terminal cancer and leaving her husband in search of an orgasm, basically. The series stars Michelle Williams and Jenny Slate with recurring features from Rob Delaney, David Rash, Jay Duplass, and a bunch of other people. And yeah, it made the top 10 most streamed series in the US the first week of April. So it's been out for a couple of months now, almost. And yeah, like the show basically starts out with her being in, 10 years of an unhappy marriage with her husband. And basically she gets this cancer diagnosis where she has had breast cancer before. She beat it, and then she gets the scan and sees that her cancer has come back and that she is terminal. And the show really grapples with this idea. Trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about sexual violence a little bit in this episode, of her being a 7-year-old and being molested by her mom's boyfriend. And that trauma continues to kind of come up through her journey of figuring out what she likes and who she wants to be with and how she wants to be, and her kinks and her, wanting to be a top and what it's like, just like all of like her emotional journey and her sexual journey is influenced and shaped in some way by her trauma that happened to her when she was 7 years old. And I just found there to be so many beautiful, I'm getting goosebumps, beautiful parts about this show. And I think, like, first and foremost, I want to talk about the chemistry that Michelle Williams and Jenny Slate have as best friends. And there is such a deep connection that they have. And it's just so wonderful to see what it looks like on screen for two women to just love each other so unapologetically. Jenny Slate's character is so good. She plays this like ADHD, kind of very messy, like chaotic woman who is in love with this guy, but like, ends up like getting fired from her job because she's taking care of Molly. Her name is Nikki, Jenny Slate. So Nikki is like taking care of Molly, and essentially she like loses herself in taking care of her best friend, in this last year and a half of her life. And it just is so special to see female friendship in that way. And there's this really one particular scene that really struck me, which is when Nikki and her sister are like out in the hallway because Nikki had to move in with Molly because she no longer lives with her boyfriend and she doesn't have a job. And so she ends up moving in and sleeping on her couch. And her sister is like, you're losing your whole like life to like taking care of this woman. Like, what are you doing? And Jenny Slate's character, Nikki, sees that she has like blood stains on her shirt. And she's like, look, this is like her blood. And what I will feel is like happy that I still have a piece of her in like on me and in my life, like after she dies. That's what I'll think of when I see this blood. Like, I won't think that I'm losing my life to taking care of this person. And it was just so moving and so like, it made me reflect on just my friendships and how I have always said that I think my real soulmates are my best friends, who are women, and just how passionate I feel about female friendships. And so that really, I feel like, was shown in this show. And transitioning to the sex stuff, I mean, my God, like, I also want to shout out a character named Sonia, who is the palliative care social worker assigned to Molly's case, played by Esco Jule. And really, Sonia is the person, they really guide Molly on her journey of sexual discovery and take Molly to a sex party and kind of like are just there for Molly unequivocally. And it was just so beautiful to see their relationship and the way that Molly grows because of Sonia. And yeah, I just feel like there are so many different pieces to Molly's sexual discovery that we get to see. Like, we hear from Molly that she is 40 and she has never orgasmed with another person. And she just left a 10-year marriage, right? And it really does open my eyes to how many people, including you all who are amazing listeners, who have written into me being like, hey, like, I have trouble orgasming with my partner. I, love this person, but we're not passionate. Like, it's just so common for people, especially with trauma, to not be able to achieve orgasm with someone else. And so I really loved how unapologetic Molly was about being able to find what feels good for her with another person. And she kind of explores this world of doming and subbing and kink and like what that feels like to be in control, and has this like really interesting arc with her neighbor who she like ends up, it starts with like her basically like doming him around and telling him that he's worthless and he's really into it, to them kind of like actually catching feelings for each other and like being open, and to her getting pleasure from him, and them, ending up falling in love. Like it was such a, I just found their relationship to be so interesting and fascinating. And again, unlike I have seen on TV before, when it comes to like not making the whole show about like this weird kink or this weird like doming thing, but just like as a part of sexuality. And there's a moment where Sonia kind of says like, oh, like you older millennials, like we're really taught that sex is just PV and anything else that you're into is like not part of sex. But sex is, they describe sex as a wave. They describe sex as you putting yourself on another plane. Like there's so many different beautiful words that Sonia's character shares when it comes to sex, and I just couldn't relate more. Like as someone who loves teaching about sex and loves teaching about how expansive it can be and how beautiful and mind altering and just like connective, and how it just is so dumb that it's been reduced to this like PNV doop da doop da doop. So I think like just overall seeing this person who, is based on this real life person. I haven't heard the podcast. So if you have heard the podcast, I'm so curious to hear what you think about it and how you feel like the show compares to the podcast. But it's so brave of this person, Molly, to, have shared her life and her death with the public, and for her to really have been brave and kind of addressed her trauma and been processing it and figure out like how to reach her sexual identity in like the most authentic and real way. And I'm just rambling, but as you can hear, I absolutely love this show. I thought it was really phenomenal. Highly recommend it. And if you want to do what I did and download it on a plane and just watch the whole thing at one time, it's like 30-minute episodes and there are 8 of them. So it took about 4 hours on my way back from the East Coast this week. So yeah, I hope that hearing this inspires you to hopefully think about your own sexual journey. And as someone who has listened to this podcast, like, yeah, I hope that this has also helped you feel more empowered to really consider like what you like, how you express that, how you get pleasure with a partner. And yeah, if you are still on that journey, as we all are, and feel like you have a long way to go, know that you're not alone. And yeah, I am in no way sponsored by this television show, but highly recommend checking it out and watch Dying for Sex. Listen to the podcast. Maybe we can listen to the podcast together. And let me know what you think. Email me at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. And I hope you all have such a great day. Love you. Bye. Our creator, host, and executive producer is me, Danielle Bezalel, aka DB. Our producer is Sadie Lidji. Our communications lead is Cathren Cohen. Our music theme is by Hook Sounds. Thanks so much to our featured guests, partners, and listeners. If you have a rom-com you remember from growing up and want us to cover it on Rom-Com Vom, submit it to us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and leaving a comment on Spotify. Want to partner with us? Email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. For more sex ed content, follow us on Instagram at sexedwithdbpodcast. See you next time.